Alright, well, I just got off of work early today, so I thought, you know what, with all this extra time I have today, I thought I'd go ahead and just make a video, and in typical Zach Hall fashion, I have to make a controversial video about a controversial topic. That's just kind of my thing here on this channel. That topic is the two Halloween films directed by Rob Zombie, and why I've kind of changed my tune on these movies a little bit. Because I have rewatched, it's Halloween time, so I rewatched the Halloween franchise, the whole thing, the entire franchise, from John Carpenter's classic all the way to Halloween Kills, and I was actually dreading the Rob Zombie part of this franchise when I was coming up on it. I think when I got to like H2O, I realized I got Resurrection, and then I got the two Rob Zombie ones, and I like them now this time around. This time around, I actually like these movies. I've actually always kind of dug Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie in a way. There's a lot of parts of that movie that I did like. So I wasn't really that worried about rewatching Halloween 2. I was actually I was dreading Halloween 1 by Rob Zombie, and I really kind of liked it this time. There's still a lot of things about this movie that bug me, like the opening act and the fact that Rob Zombie had to squeeze 5,000 fucks and cunts within the first 2 minutes of this movie, with the white trash family and the white trash breakfast scene. That scene's pretty fucking terrible. That entire scene is terrible. You could have, I know, I saw what he was trying to do with that, but I'd ask Rob Zombie. I'm saying somebody that likes Rob Zombie. I like Rob Zombie's music. Subtlety. Just subtlety. That scene, that whole... You could have had a very tense breakfast scene without putting in 500 fucking fucks and cunts and having a man threaten to rape a woman in front of their children. You could have taken that out of that movie, and you could have handed it to a writer that probably would have wrote that to be a little more subtle, a little more, what's the word? Relaxed, but tense at the same way. It's just Rob Zombie can't write. And that's definitely the biggest flaw with Rob Zombie's Halloween, is the dialogue. The dialogue in here is rough. Very rough. And the characters. There's some characters I do like. I like Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie Strode in this film. I think she is a very capable actress. There's even parts... I don't know about this film as much as Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where I think she might do, in some areas, not as a whole, but in some areas she might be a little bit better than Jamie Lee Curtis. Not as a whole. I'm just thinking, I think there's certain things she does that are definitely better than Jamie Lee Curtis. So yeah, the reason why I think I was able to enjoy these two films more than I have in the past, I still have that fucking cough. It's like that thing's never going to go away. I think the reason I enjoyed these films more is, I think because I was able to separate this Michael Myers and this Halloween universe from the original version of the universe. I was able to look at this as, this is not John Carpenter's, Michael Myers. This is Rob Zombie's Michael Myers, and there are some differences with this Michael Myers versus Carpenter's Michael Myers, and while I definitely don't prefer this iteration of Michael Myers over that original Michael Myers, this one, I like this portrayal of Michael Myers. It's a more realistic, more humanized version. I've been wanting to do that for a while because it was really sneaking up on me, but yeah, it's definitely more realistic and more humanized, and I get why fans aren't, big fans of this. I get it, okay? This is not the Michael Myers that you know. For me, I don't know if it was because I was kind of getting drained with the original version of Michael Myers by Halloween 5. So Halloween 5 was hard for me to sit through this time, same with 6. H2O was hard for me to sit through, and even Resurrection was really rough for me to sit through. Because I feel like they were just overusing the same version of Michael Myers as much as they can. So it was nice for me to see like a fresh take on Michael Myers, a more for lack of a better term, original version of Michael Myers, for lack of a better term. I think you know what I mean by that. Um, I still don't like the first half of this Halloween movie. I think that the backstory could have worked a lot better if it was written by somebody else. I did not care for the stuff in the mental hospital. There were things here and there that I liked. I did like in this movie how the scene where Michael's sitting at the table in the mess hall, and the nurse is there looking at the picture of the baby. And I know it's different in the theatrical cut. And I'm actually going to talk about the theatrical cut version because I prefer the theatrical cut version of this scene more. Where Michael, she says, "That's a cute baby," and then turns around and Michael takes a metal fork that for some reason is in a mental hospital. I don't know why they're giving out metal silverware in a mental hospital, because the reason they don't do that is what happens here. He takes the fork and jams her in the fucking throat with it and kills her. That's exactly why they don't hand out metal silverware in a mental institution. But anyway, that's just kind of a nitpicky thing. But the way that was done, that's how I feel the original version of Michael Myers would have handled that situation. Whereas in the unrated cut, she says something mean to him, something kind of derogatory. It's like, "Oh, that baby can't be related to you." And then he kills her, and it's like, okay, well, you were kind of expecting him to get upset about that and kill her in that version of the film. But in the theatrical version, they cut that little scene out, which kind of makes it a little bit more like Michael Myers from that original universe. So I did like that a lot. I like the kills in the first half of the movie. My biggest issue with... It's not the kills, like the actual kills. It's kind of... How do I put it? It's like Judith Myers is supposed to be Michael Myers' first kill. Well, he instead kills the bully at school, which is the kid from Spy Kids, the curly-headed kid, that's in there talking about cum and fucking and somebody selling blowjobs in the bathroom, and that's another plague of Rob Zombie's scriptwriting. Like, I know there's kids out there that do talk like that, but like I think it's kind of cringy, and I don't really wish to hear it. But anyway, he follows that kid and beats him with the stick, and I like how vicious it is, and I like how vicious the baseball, where he just fucking caves his sister's boyfriend's head in with the baseball bat. But the issue I got off topic there for a minute, but the issue with that is that that's supposed to be Michael's first kill, and I just feel like those two kills coming before the Judith Myers kill kind of takes away from that shock factor of this little kid just killed his sister. But I know what Rob Zombie was going for. He was trying to paint this picture that Michael just had it rough. Everything about his life sucks. He's killing animals. I'm gonna grab a sip of my water. I probably should cut this out, but I don't feel like it. Yeah, he's killing animals and putting them in Ziploc bags and bringing them to school. And I do always kind of laugh how the mother kind of just turns a blind eye to it. Like, she just does not bat an eye at all. She just says, "Oh, big deal, he's killing animals." And then they try to explain to her that this is not normal fucking behavior for a child. She's like, "It's fucking ridiculous, it's ridiculous." Also want to note that I'm not a fan of Sheri Moon Zombie as an actress, but she can actually act in this movie a little bit. I'm not saying she's amazing, but she is tolerable in this movie. I'm a fan of Rob Zombie's movies, but the one thing I don't like about them is Sheri Moon Zombie, his wife, for the most part. But yeah, she doesn't bat an eye to it. And I just think that's really poor parenting, and for the sake of the film, I think it's kind of poor writing. Like, I don't know, you think she would have taken more concern to it? It's just the way she brushes it off. It's not the fact that she doesn't bat an eye, it's the way she does it. She just argues and thinks that it's ridiculous. Like, it just felt kind of lazily written, because I think any caring mother would think that that's a problem and would probably try to get their child help. But, you know, that's just, like, again, I'm nitpicking. But, yeah, the kills in this first half are vicious as fuck, especially the baseball bat to the head of the sister's boyfriend is just vicious. That's actually my favorite kill in the movie. It's just, wow, it's fucking evil. But, yeah, the first half of that movie, he eventually goes to the mental institution, and this is where the movie really drags for me, because there's not too much in this movie, I guess, going on until Michael finally escapes. It's just him talking to Dr. Loomis, and I guess I, in a way, was always curious about how the conversations between Michael and Dr. Loomis went, but now that they have painted it like this in this film, I wish it would have just remained a mystery, because it's boring as shit. It doesn't progress the plot further. They don't. I would have thought watching this that they would have had Michael and Dr. Loomis form kind of a bond through this therapy and treatment and all that, and it just doesn't really happen. It's not done very well. But the escape scene, there's two different versions of this escape scene. There's a theatrical version where the guards are escorting him to another another room, or they're trying to move him somewhere. I watched the theatrical version. I didn't watch the unrated cut because I don't need to see the unrated cut again, and part of that is because of this unnecessary rape scene with the escape scene. So in this version, he escapes by killing all the guards. In this other version, he escapes because these guys, for whatever fucking reason, decide to take this crazy chick into Michael's room to rape her. I didn't even understand what the purpose was, other than trying to get Michael out of the insane asylum. So I really didn't understand why the guards felt the need to rape this woman inside Michael's room. It just felt really forced and really didn't make a lot of sense. I prefer the theatrical cut escape. This is where I start liking the movie. Once he leaves the insane asylum, I really start liking this movie a lot more. I love the bathroom scene between him and Ken Faree. Though I think it is kind of nasty, because, I mean, this dude is just tearing ass in this fucking bathroom. I mean, ripping it. And Michael wants to disrupt that. Ken Faree doesn't really care for that too much, as in I don't think a lot of people would. So he gets into a fight with Ken Faree, kills him, and then this is kind of nasty. He puts the fucking coveralls on that this truck driver, Ken Faree's a truck driver, on. And I'm thinking, I really don't think I'd want to put that on. I mean, there's just no telling. Like, this guy says, oh, I got a Taco Supreme talking back at me, man. It's like, yeah, you know what? If I were Michael, I'd have looked at those coveralls and thought, you know what? I'll pass. And that is realistic as well, because I worked at a truck stop, and truckers are actually like that. I found bags of shit and jugs of piss, and I've seen a lot of things at truck stops before. So I used to work at one, changing tires and doing like mechanic kind of stuff, but not auto mechanic, like diesel mechanic stuff and all that. And yeah, truck drivers are really like that. They can be kind of nasty. So yeah, they definitely nailed. They definitely nailed that. But yeah, once this happens, I'm a fan of the movie. I don't think this is kind of the remake portion where he's like, okay, we got to remake John Carpenter's Halloween now, and they change a few things. Michael doesn't drive, which is kind of a bummer. But I guess Rob Zombie wasn't a fan of Michael in the original driving, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, he does his classic stalking Laurie, which I like. I like that Michael stalks in this movie. That feels more like in line with John Carpenter's Halloween. But there's also its own thing. It's also its own thing because you didn't see Michael Myers in the original film kill Laurie's adoptive parents. You do in this movie, and it's actually done really brutally too. Like, he fucks them up. And normally I wouldn't like that if it was in the original Halloween, like the original Halloween series, but because this is Rob Zombie's Halloween, I can separate that. I think Michael Myers wouldn't do anything like that, but this is a more, like I said, more humanized, more man version of Michael Myers, and this is more of like a deranged psycho, like, oh, he just wants to fuck everything up and smash it up. So, you know what? I appreciated how brutal that was. Um, Characters. I know I say a lot, I'm sorry, but the characters, though, aside from Laurie, I didn't care for her introduction in the film, but she grew on me as the film went. The rest of the characters in this movie, besides Brad Dourif as Sheriff, what's his name? Sheriff Brackett, who I thought did great, even better in the next film. I thought that the character of Linda, now I like the actress that plays her, but I didn't care for this version of her. She's just in the original film, she was a very ditzy, like, she was going to lose her virginity for the first time to this guy. And unfortunately, they get killed afterwards in the original film, as they do in this film. But she just feels like she's a really ditzy, likable character. In this film, she's kind of a trash mouth slut. Rob Zombie put a Slayer shirt. This is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels. She says she's a cheerleader and she's kind of a popular chick in school. No popular high school girl would ever show up to school in a Slayer shirt. I'm sorry, that just doesn't fucking happen. But Rob Zombie gave her a Slayer shirt, and it was kind of a nice touch since I'm a metalhead and all that. But yeah, no, popular girls in high school do not wear Slayer shirts. They don't wear any heavy metal stuff. A lot of them don't even know what the fuck heavy metal is. So that's wrong on so many levels. But the thing that really annoyed me the most about Linda in this film is the fact that she fucks this dude that looks like a fucking member of Anthrax from the 1980s. She fucks this dude, lets him blow his load in her, and then picks up the phone right after, calls Laurie, and says, "You don't think I'm a slut, do you?" That shit just annoys me. So you're gonna sit here, you're gonna fuck this dude, let him blow his load in you, and then say, "You don't think I'm a slut?" Because now all this originated because they had a conversation on their walk home from school, where I guess Danielle Harris's Annie, played by Danielle Harris, excuse me, calls her a slut. And I'm thinking, I wish they would have just not touched on it, because that was just useless dialogue, and just, yeah, I wasn't big on the characters. When shit really starts going down, when the killing actually starts in this remake portion, though, I can let all that slide and enjoy the movie because it's a good slasher film. Like, this is a good, well-directed, well-made slasher film, and I cannot say that this film is bad because I have seen bad fucking movies. In fact, me and my fiance, she got to experience Axum for the first time. Please observe.
Damn it. All we notice him. Oh, shit!
You just worried about me getting my music in the truck. You worried about me getting my way. Oh! Ah!
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna call Rob Zombie's Halloween bad when shit like this exists. But yeah, I liked the way the movie ended as well. I forgot to mention, I wanted to talk about Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis. I really like Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis. I prefer Donald Pleasance. I think almost everybody does. I kind of look at this as kind of like a Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen kind of thing, where Donald Pleasance is Michael Jordan, who's just the greatest, as Dr. Loomis. And then you got Malcolm McDowell, who's Scottie Pippen, who is also good, just not Michael Jordan good. So, yeah, I really liked Malcolm McDowell. Really liked him, and I really liked Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett. I really liked the interaction that him and Brad Dourif have in this movie. Other than I wish it would have been written a lot more originally instead of just copying Donald Pleasance's line, the speech that he gave when they're standing in the Myers house and he's giving the speech about Michael. I wish they would have been a little bit more original about that. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of Malcolm McDowell copying Donald Pleasance, but that's not Malcolm McDowell's fault. That's, the writing's fault. It's Rob Zombie's fault. Because he did great with what he was given. Malcolm McDowell did amazing with what he was given. So I got to applaud him for that. And yes, now, the way the movie ends, I love the entire scene in Michael's house. I don't know, I love the whole thing. It felt like it felt like that 70s, what's the word? I'm thinking of a term here. 70s grindhouse horror. And I love 70s grindhouse horror, and this just felt like that to a fucking T. And, well, I really enjoyed my time with Rob Zombie's Halloween, even though I watched the theatrical version. I got the Blu-ray that has both the theatrical version, that Canadian version of it, but I'm just holding this up just because I like the way this looks better. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time with mainly the second half of this movie. This is actually a good movie with the second half, other than a couple things that I bitched about. So yeah, my opinion on this film has changed. I enjoyed it. Now, this is where it's going to get really controversial. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I loved it this time. I loved it this time. I'm not going to go into as big of a rant, or I'm not going to rave on this one for as long as I did Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, but I love this fucking movie. I gave it a negative review in the past, but you know what? I've always kind of liked this movie in a way, and I can't fight it anymore. I just like how different the fucking movie is. I don't know. Like, I got into an argument with it. I don't want to say an argument. A discussion. I kind of felt like this specific YouTuber, though, was being a little bit condescending towards me since he didn't like this movie, and I kind of do. Tried to kind of objectively tell me that this movie is bad, which I've already shown you a prime example of a bad film, like Axum. No, this is no way. I actually think this is even better than the first Rob Zombie one. I think this one, I like the way this looks better because it's shot on 16mm film. It looks gritty. It looks dark. It is fucking dark. This movie is dark as fuck. And I like Michael Myers when it's darker. Yeah, this movie is fucking dark, man. I mean, dark. The killing in this movie is even better than his first one, in my opinion. The killing in this one, it feels more real than the killing in the original Halloween franchise. Now, I love the original Halloween franchise. Well, actually, I like certain films in the franchise, but yeah. Oh, yeah, and I want to tell you this. I meant to bring this up in the review, not the review, the discussion about the last one. They call these two movies character assassination of Michael Myers, and that these are the films that I guess Rob Zombie took the Halloween franchise and just gave it a dry, raw, anal pounding. I disagree. Why is this an original take on Michael Myers' character assassination? But I don't ever see people complain about Michael Myers crying in Halloween 5. I don't ever see people complaining about Michael Myers being controlled by a cult in Halloween 6. I never see... Well, actually, I do see some complaints about Michael Myers getting bitched out by Busta Rhymes in Resurrection and him just turning around and walking the other way. Now, why is all that okay, but Rob Zombie having his own vision of Michael Myers isn't? Like, it's fine if you don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's fine if you don't like his first one. I didn't for the longest time, but I've grown to appreciate it. But if you don't like him, I encourage these people to watch it with an open mind. If you still don't like it, fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's unfair to bash these movies for being character assassination of Michael Myers when it's already been done in the original franchise. You can even go as far back as Halloween 2, since that really destroyed the beauty of the original film. It destroyed the mystique and the mystery. But why is original Halloween 2, why is that a beloved sequel, but this thing is called trash? I mean, I get it if you don't like this movie, that's fine. Like I said, I don't have an issue with people who don't like the movie. It's your opinion, it's your taste. That's film. We all watch film differently. I just think it's funny that nobody bats an eye to all the stuff in the original franchise, but because this is Rob Zombie's Halloween, it's automatically bad. When I think, in reality, this is, like I said, Rob Zombie's original take on Michael Myers. So, he's got a lot more freedom, but when you're making Michael Myers cry in Part 5, that's supposed to be the same Michael Myers from the original Halloween. But I know people that love Halloween 5, so I don't get it. Michael Myers, so you're telling me the whole time Michael Myers in the original film was stalking Annie and Laurie and Linda, the whole time he was controlled by a cult. Like, I know those aren't considered canon in the new Blumhouse trilogy, and those films are good too, especially 2018. The Flare Kills kind of has already lost the flair a little bit for me, but I still like it. But, you know, that's still in the original continuity, which is not the same thing as Rob Zombie's Halloween. So, Rob Zombie, yeah, I think he did a good job with Halloween 2, considering that the studio kind of fiddle-fucked around in his business for the first film. And like I said, I'm surprised that I ended up liking it as much as I did. And just because studios interfere with films doesn't make them bad. I mean, you got Alien 3, which that movie, in my opinion, was bad. But then you got movies like Spider-Man 3. Studio fucked around with that movie, and it's still a good movie. There's a couple things I would have done differently. You could have taken Venom and Gwen Stacy out of that movie, and it would have been exactly the same. But I still love Spider-Man 3, and I'm sure it's mainly just nostalgia, since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy is my favorite film trilogy of all time. Yeah, it's just, there's times where studios get involved and maybe mess stuff up, but that doesn't make the movie bad overall. And it didn't make Rob Zombie's Halloween bad overall. I like that this one, though, he did his own original thing. I am not going to go into big details like I did with the last one. I think I've already said that. But I liked how brutal this was. I liked the look of Hobo Myers. I always have liked the look of Hobo Myers. He looks fucking scary. He looks like somebody you just don't want to... I definitely don't want Hobo Myers chasing me down the street, because I fear what he would do to me. Because the way he kills in this fucking movie doesn't look very fun. This movie does not look like, or this character does not look like somebody you would want murdering you. Not that you would want anybody murdering you anyway, but I would rather somebody else murder me than this version of Michael Myers. Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, the kills in this movie are brutal as fuck. The white horse thing it is kind of dumb. It is pretty stupid, but other than that, I don't really have a lot of complaints. I think Scout Taylor Compton in this film is actually better in this movie than she was in the last one. I felt like the character was written better. I didn't even mind Dickhead Loomis this time, because it was already established that he's somebody that does like to... He said he kind of was already established. He is somebody that would, if he had the chance, he could let fame go to his head, and that's what he did here. And this is kind of how I would imagine Loomis would be. He sees a chance to profit off of this tragedy. You know, that's kind of how I would imagine it. And just like Annie and Laurie are in this movie, they're exactly how I would imagine they would be after the end of the first film. Yeah. And Brad Dourif's performance in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, the way he discovers Annie's dead body in the unrated cut, not the theatrical one. I watched the unrated cut this time. If that was not a horror film, I think he would have been nominated for an Oscar for that scene. If this was not such a hated film and not a horror film, because generally horror films don't win Oscars, but... yeah, I think if this was in a completely different movie, if this was in like a drama or something and it got like a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes, I think Brad Dourif would have won an Oscar for that scene alone. He is just an incredible actor. One more, I think I'm going to start wrapping things up here, but if anything comes to my mind... oh, this is going to be the last thing for this video. In this version of the film, the unrated director's cut, this is a thing that bugged me. Okay, the grunting when he's killing people doesn't bug me. Michael Myers talks at the end of this version of the film. Bullshit. Bullshit. I don't care if this is your version of Michael Myers. Michael Myers doesn't fucking talk. You can make him talk as a kid. I guess because he talked as a kid in the first Rob Zombie film. It's fine if you want to make him talk as a kid, but he should not talk as an adult. Yeah, no, that was bullshit. So I prefer the ending to the theatrical because that shit's not in there. It's him getting shot and he falls on to this farming equipment and it fucking stabs him. So yeah, I definitely prefer the ending to the theatrical than the unrated. So yeah, I mean, these movies are quite a few years old now, and I saw them both in the theater when I shouldn't have. I was 7 and 9 years old, I think it was. Yeah. They were both horrible movie-going experiences, but every time I've seen a Halloween movie in the theater, it's always been a bad experience. Like during Halloween 2018, somebody fucking farted during the fucking movie as loud as they could. There was a guy in this film that just talked through the whole fucking thing, and then with Rob Zombie's first Halloween movie, I got sick at the end of it. So yeah, just me and Halloween movies at the theaters, it just doesn't mesh well. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my experience with these two Rob Zombie Halloween movies. I know I was more in depth about the first one than I was the second one, but you know, I mean, have your guys' opinions changed on these movies? Do you kind of respect them now, or do you hate them now, or have you always hated them and always loathed their existence? You know, I don't hate them anymore. I actually hate Resurrection and Part 5 more than these movies. I think these movies are a lot better. It's just me. But go ahead and tell me your thoughts on the two Rob Zombie Halloween movies down in the comments. And, you know, keep it nice down there. Don't get mad. Don't get shitty or anything like that. Just talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end this video. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm out. Peace.